There is a podcast about an island in the North Atlantic where people have been looking for an incredible treasure for more than 200 years.
Hello and welcome back to Could It Be?
An Oak Island podcast.
We are your hosts, Deidre and Dustin White.
Hey, we got something really awesome today, right, babe?
Oh, wow. Yeah.
We have an exclusive interview with one of the most beloved members of the Oak Island team. We are here and happy to present to you Vanessa Lucido.
Hey, Vanessa.
Hi.
Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me, guys. This is awesome. This is my first podcast ever.
Yay.
Well, welcome to the podcasting community, I guess. But yeah, thanks for taking the time out of your day to chat with us. We've got a lot of questions for you, and we love what you do on the islands. It just made sense for us to reach out and try to get a chat with you.
Wonderful. I have to kind of share a fun fact with you real quick.
Oh, yeah?
I was actually almost named Deidre.
Whoa.
Yeah, that was the name my mom had picked, and at the very last minute, she switched it to Vanessa.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, look at this connection already.
Would it have been spelled the same way, D-E-I-D-R-A?
I'm going to have to double check with her, but yeah.
Wow. I was named after a soap opera star. And
Oh, wonderful.
Well, maybe it's the same one. Who knows?
maybe you're my spirit animal.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Oh, man. You just made my day. So,
That's pretty fun.
So have you ever, this whole digging for buried treasure thing, right?
Yes.
Have you ever received a request to dig for buried treasure before?
So, not a legitimate request. We might have someone, in his backyard that, would be driving through some old town in USA and they'd see our signs or something and say, hey, I got gold in my backyard, come dig. But it was always kind of like, do this as a friend thing.
Mm-hmm.
We have never done anything to this scale I've never been a treasure hunter before.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Well, you are now.
Yeah, right?
I guess so. I actually didn't call myself that until Rick Lagina called me the other day and was like, you could call yourself a treasure hunter now. I was like, oh. I was waiting for someone to tell me I could.
No, yeah, he's right. You can. If you've dug for buried treasure, that's legit treasure hunter credentials right there.
Yep.
For sure.
Yeah. What other types of work do you and your team do besides dig for treasure?
This is the only time we have ever dug for treasure.
Yeah.
I've been in this industry my entire life. We've been drillers. My dad started a company in 1979 that we were actually more of a subcontractor. And we did all the foundations under most of the casinos in Vegas, which a lot of people know, all the casinos, MGM, Treasure Island, Mirage, Circus. So I kind of lived in one casino while the other one was being built.
Wow.
Growing up.
Mm-hmm.
So once most of Vegas was built, we moved into doing a lot of ski poles for the lifts, bridge works. We worked on the San Francisco Bay Bridge, and we're just kind of all over the U.S. A lot of infrastructure and bridge work and high rises is what we primarily do.
Cool. So was the Bay Bridge project after the earthquake?
It was.
Or was it because of the earthquake?
It was, we were just widening it. So
Oh, okay.
the Bay Bridge was already there, and
Yeah.
they decided that California has so many people, right? So we had to widen. So it was the Bay Bridge West Approach Viaduct widening.
Gotcha. Yeah, we, what was it, about a year ago, we were driving across that bridge.
Yeah. To
Yeah.
find treasure.
To find treasure, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, well, we were on this TV show last year, digging for buried treasure in San Francisco, so it's just funny that you mentioned that. Yeah,
Yeah, kind of
That is
ironic.
funny.
yeah,
That is
well,
kind of ironic, yeah.
that's what we do. We love treasure hunting, so.
Well, I heard you mention working on Treasure Island, too. I'm just saying. It feels
Yes.
like it's there in your blood.
It must be, yes.
What does a typical day look like for you and your company?
A typical day looks like for me, I definitely start my day off with coffee every day.
Yes.
My team makes fun of me because I have this moment of silence when I get my first coffee because it just makes me very happy. But after that, typically I'm touching base with the team right now with this whole COVID thing going on. We're doing everything remotely and we're calling or emailing and checking in on everyone, getting a status update, deciding what equipment needs work on, being sent out, coming back in. I'm very much a player coach. Even though I'm, the CEO and the owner, I like to be involved. So
Yeah.
I'll be walking down there, walking through the yard full of equipment, checking things out with the boys. And then I'm jumping on the call with our administration and COO and helping strategize the next big plan or the big project or bid we got coming up. I do like to be very, very involved.
You mentioned the equipment. What do you guys use besides oscillators for your company? Because that's what we see. That's what, the viewers get to see most of. But like, what else do you use?
So our bread and butter are the oscillators and rotators, which is similar to an oscillator, but it's a bigger machine that will spin 360. And so we really kind of stay within the heavy foundation drilling equipment. So we do have some drill rigs in our rental fleet, some augers, just trying to facilitate the different types of methodologies. But we really do hone in on the oscillator and rotator methodology as our specialty.
Cool. Yeah, and I just had one more question. ROC. What does that stand for? Does it stand for anything in particular?
So it did not at first. We liked the name ROC, but we were tired of seeing it with a K all over the place, so we dropped off the K. And then what we realized is our three main things that we do rent and sell is rotators, oscillator, and casing.
Wow.
Jeez.
So it worked out really nice.
That fit perfectly, didn't it? Like a glove.
Yeah, it did.
Wow, that's kind of mind-blowing, actually.
That's neat.
It really was.
Hey, sometimes things just come together.
Right?
They do.
So, at least for me, seeing you, out there coming to the island, working in what we typically see as a man's world, right? It's great. And I know there's a lot of kids that I've seen mentioned that they look up to you every time you come out to the island. And it's just, it's really awesome. What do you think about that? Like, what would you tell someone that wants to get into the same line of work as you?
I would say, if it's your passion and you want to do it, go for it. I am so humbled, and I love that there's, these little girls out there that are excited about seeing me with a hard hat on. I had one dad reach out to me a few weeks ago and say that his daughter has called me Princess Elsa on Oak Island.
Oh.
And that he sent me a picture of her in her hard hat, and I just I melted. I was like, that's the cutest thing ever. It's challenging. It hasn't always been easy being in this industry, especially I was thrown into it at a very young age where, one, they just didn't believe at my age that I could have the understanding and knowledge that I do. And then two, being, a woman in a male dominant industry, it was challenging. It definitely was. I think what really helped me was my dad and my brothers, because I am the only girl in my family. And they didn't treat me any differently. It was like, nope, I'm going to pick up the shovel. You pick up the shovel. I'm going to go to work. We're going to go to work. And my dad had such confidence in me. He would send me into these meetings when I was 18 years old with a group full of, men sitting at a table. And I'd be walking in there telling them how we're going to start doing this drill job. And I did get asked to get coffee quite a few times until they realized that I was there to be the subcontractor. And I think just having his confidence, behind me to go in there, and he knew that I could do it, just kind of has stuck with me. And I just know the first part of being able to get through it is showing up and being there. Even if it's hard and you're nervous to get there, showing up that first day, walking on the job site, owning yourself, owning that space is the first step.
Wow, that's a big first step. I have to say, I cheer. I physically cheer every time you show up. So
She does.
We're rooting for you. I'm like, it's Vanessa. She's coming back.
You're so sweet. I have to, and I could share this with you. I did get permission, but I have to share a funny story.
Okay.
I went up to Oak Island the first season thinking we were just dropping off the equipment. Didn't even wear makeup that day. Didn't even come ready. And when the cameras came up, I went and hid in the casing because I didn't want to be on cameras.
Oh, man.
That's really funny.
I would have done that.
So I went and hid in the casing, and then I think it was Marty was like, well, how do we operate this thing? And I had to come out of the casing. And yeah, from there, they kind of stuck. So.
That's really funny. That's a good story.
I love that.
Yeah. As far as your job off of Oak Island goes, what's the most challenging aspect of your position and of your job? We know that you're the CEO of Rock Equipment.
Yeah. I think the biggest challenge is being the boss. There's really no one above me to say, is this a good idea? Or, am I doing this right? Having I'm blessed to, have had my mother push me in scholastics, that I'm very smart and I know how to do the research to be able to find correct answers. And then my dad was street smart, so I got a combination of both. And then I very much rely on my intuition and my gut. But it's, being at the top, it's challenging in its own way, because you don't have anyone above you to tell you what to do or to help you with the decisions or to make the final word. You're making it. And that's exciting but scary all at the same time.
Yeah. A lot riding on your decision, right? So
what's your favorite part, or like the most rewarding moment in your career?
Yeah, this is an easy one because it just makes me so happy. I always wanted to give someone a trip to Disney World. Even as a little girl, I remember watching the Super Bowl and they're like, we're going to Disney World. And I was like, I'm going to take people to Disney World one day, which is super silly. But that little girl dream stayed with me. And 2 years ago, I was able to take my entire team and their family and their kids, and we went to Disney World.
Wow.
And we had Rock Mickey ear hats on, and we had a blast. And to see the kids of my employees who worked so hard just having a blast with each other and enjoying Disney World, it was, Disney is magical on its own, but that was so rewarding. That was awesome.
Wow.
Well, hey, can I come work for you?
That's what I'm
For
thinking.
sure. You just want the Mickey ears, don't you?
Maybe.
Maybe, yeah. So you're based out of Utah, is that right?
So I would say that Utah and Arizona.
Okay.
Okay.
Both of those are really quite far from that tiny little island in the North Atlantic. Yeah, why did they? How did they choose you to do the work on Oak Island? Did you already have a relationship with someone in the Fellowship of the Dig, or did you get called out of the blue, or you just your reputation in the industry?
So it was definitely our reputation in the industry, because I'm slightly embarrassed to admit the Oak team called us for about 6 months, and I did not answer their calls.
Wow.
Whoa.
Yes, I didn't think it was for real. I thought, too good to be true. No way is, the history in Oak Island, and they don't really want us. And I told my team, focus on the real work. Focus on what makes us money.
Yeah.
And I did. I did not answer their calls for 6 months. And then I had a very trusted friend in the industry call me and say, it was Louis Fitz from Birminghammer, who was with us in season 4 with the flying lead. I don't know if you remember him, but he called me and he's like, Vanessa, they need your equipment. This is real. You need to answer them. And I was like, oh, well, how now do I call them back and be like, oops, I missed your call.
I missed 6 months of your call. My bad.
I think they forgive you.
They did. So, but that is how we got involved. Was Louis had to, a trusted friend had to call me and say, no, this is real. They need your equipment. Let's go do this. And yeah, a couple seasons later, we're still helping them out and trying to do what we can do for them.
Well, you guys are doing a good job too, and you're entertaining to watch. That's always a plus for TV, right? And the equipment you bring to the island's really interesting. We get a history lesson. We get modern technology lessons. It's just it's just a fun experience having you and your team show up on Oak Island. So I'm glad you answered that call eventually.
So then what is it like to go from not returning their phone calls to suddenly being a TV personality and also running this successful business?
So I don't even see myself as a TV personality. That's kind of funny you say that. When you said that, I'm like, that's not me.
Yes, it is.
Some people would beg to differ. A lot of people.
Yeah. You got to balance it and you got to juggle it and everything. But when they're really good about when I am up there at Oak Island helping the team, that they know I'm still running a business, so I'm allowed to walk away and do as much as I can. And my team's awesome. That Rock, is not just the group you see there on the island, but I have a team, at home, still hitting the pavement, still making things work, and they deserve just as much credit as my team on screen. They're awesome, and they're keeping us going all year long as well. But I don't know if I answered your question.
Oh, you totally did.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Well, did you ever think that drilling holes into the earth would land you onto the highest rated cable TV show?
Probably not.
Probably not. So
Never. Okay, my dad joked about it one time that he was like, man, we should have a drill TV show. And I was like, okay, Dad, right. I was young and silly, but I never did. I didn't. I thought, drilling, this was so out of our line of work. But it's been so much fun for our team and for me and everything like that. So it's been a welcomed experience, and the whole Oak team's amazing. I mean, it's like going to summer camp every time we go up there. I get so excited. It's seriously one of my favorite places on this earth, even just to go visit and to be. And then when I see all those boys up there, it's camp, and we're singing Kumbaya, and we're trying to find a treasure somewhere.
Yeah, making s'mores and whatnot, sure.
Yeah. We were supposed to be headed there actually in just a handful of days.
Yeah, we had a trip planned for mid-May. It was canceled, unfortunately, because of what's going on in the world. But
Shoot.
yeah. Well, we'll try to go some other time. It's fine. You gotta take care of the world, and that's what they're doing. They don't want anybody to get sick coming up there. And I guess you can't even get into Canada right now.
Right.
So.
You can't. What's so crazy is because we do that work going on up there for other projects, and we physically cannot go. We have to give our equipment at the border, and they take it. And
wow.
It's crazy.
Yeah, you're like, please don't break this.
Yes. I'm like, 'cause I don't know how well Danny can Skype repairs, but we'll try.
Well, speaking of Danny.
So Danny's one of the people we normally see there with you, obviously. And we refer to him as Danny the Pirate. Is he actually a pirate?
You know what? I'm going to have to watch him more closely now because he might be.
That's where all the gold's going.
Yeah.
It might be, he knows more about that equipment and that, that money pit area now than anyone, having drilled all those shafts and finding what he's finding. But Danny's awesome. Yeah,
it's just funny. We hear him say, he'll just exclaim like, oh, like, and he just has a rasp to his voice and is like, it just sounds like a pirate yell,
Yes.
It's like he's ready for whatever. And so we just lovingly call him Danny the Pirate.
I love it. Nope, that's perfect.
Oh, yeah, we know that yell from anywhere. It can be dubbed anywhere. It's whenever that wood or whatever comes out. Yeah!
Yeah, we've actually had that as like the ender to our podcast a couple times last season. After he had done that, we would have him, whatever his phrase was that led up to his pirate yell. So it's pretty good.
Oh, too funny.
Yeah,
I love it. I'll have to let him know.
Yeah, it's funny stuff. Besides Danny, that you and him are the ones we see the most on screen. Who else, or like how many other people come to the island with you guys?
Yeah, so Danny definitely is my right-hand man with this because of his expertise. Oak Island is so far and remote that I need the best mechanic in person there. And Danny has been in this industry 35 years. He's gone to, Korea and designed the equipment with me. If anything is going to break, go wrong, we have to come up with a unique situation. He's the one that's going to design and develop something right there on site for me. So he is definitely my security blanket up there on Oak Island. If I know anything's going to go wrong, he's there. And then over the couple seasons, we've made sure to switch out different members of our team. We've had Kent Peterson up there drilling. We've had Jericho Prosser, Jared Busby, John Lee, really just trying to give our whole team the opportunity to experience this. Because it is a once-in-a-lifetime experience for them. But then, Danny definitely is my right-hand man, and he's there all the time.
That's fun. Yeah, we always enjoy seeing Danny pop up on the screen. I don't know.
He's so ecstatic.
Yeah, he just makes us happy. I don't know.
He is hilarious. He's so funny.
What do you think or hope or do you believe that there's treasure down in the bottom of the money pit?
Oh, 100% something's there. 100%.
Yeah.
From drilling all over the U.S. and Canada for years, and, this is what we do, is we drill into the earth. And never have we encountered anything like we are up there, and the man-made structures and the existing things and the tunnels and the wood and the thing. It's mind-boggling to me.
It's bonkers,
and it's exciting, and I love it from the driller's perspective. I love it.
Even this last season, we heard you got 100% treasure guarantee here. But, I haven't seen any treasure.
Well, hey, I'm going to help her out with that. So, I think every time you stick that hammer grab into the caisson, you pull up some kind of old wood, any kind of artifact that might come up that Gary Drayton, Matheson finds, all of that is legit treasure because it's all lending to the knowledge gained. Knowledge is treasure, and that's part. You have to know the story in order to eventually find the treasure, and that's giving them that information.
Yeah, for sure. And I think it's just, I agree with that. And the treasure and the finding, being 150 to 200 feet down and we're still pulling up things that shouldn't be there.
Crazy.
crazy to me.
Like 200 feet down, there's something like, come on, what happened down there? Like, for real.
Exactly.
Yeah. Do you watch the show when it airs, or do you just you watch it, right?
I do watch it. I had not watched it before we got involved, but then I have watched it ever since. And then I actually do not get to see it before it airs.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm watching it right alongside you guys. So I don't know what they're going to say or what they're going to put in there. So I make sure to watch it just because it's kind of funny. I get a lot of emails from safety gurus or construction people saying, oh, you should do this or you should do that. Or so I do watch to know what kind of emails I'm going to get the next morning.
That's funny. That makes sense, though.
That is funny. You work pretty closely with Irving Equipment. Is that right?
Yes.
When you're there?
Yep,
yeah.
we do.
They do all the actual, crane work and hammer grabbing.
Yeah, so they are a crane rental company, I believe, and they do some construction and contracting as well. So they have provided the cranes each year. And then the last couple of years, it's been Chris, who's a local Nova Scotian. Nova Scotian, is that correct?
Yeah, I think so. Sounds
okay,
good.
If not, I just made up a new word.
It sounds good. It sounds right.
Yeah, and so Chris has been the operator the last couple of years. Before that, it was Michelle, and just really, really good guys. And they are definitely up there assisting and being partners with us and great to work with.
So what do you hope or think the treasure is, though?
So I have a 2-part answer to that.
Okay.
Because I'm terrified for what I hope it is. I don't want it to be. I hope, and my thought and my feelings is that it is religious artifacts. Mm-hmm. That it is, Templar or religious. I know they've said what the Ark of the Covenant.
Yeah, that's what I hope
stuff
it
like
is.
That.
Yeah, so you get your superpowers.
I really do think that's what it is. But if I'm the girl that digs up the Ark of the Covenant, I don't want to be that. I do not want to be the driller who actually uncovers that or anything to do with that, because that's just going to be such a world game changer and it's such a historical moment. And I don't know if I necessarily want to be that closely tied to it.
Well, I can totally understand your concern. We've seen Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark and what happens when they open up that thing. It isn't pretty. Mm-hmm. But we actually, I think you've seen it. We have this trading card series that we put out of these Oak Island superheroes, right? And the way that the heroes gained their powers in our, because we have even the little story is that they find the Ark of the Covenant, open it up, and
in the money pit.
Yeah, from the money pit, and it bestows superpowers on everybody that's present. And you were one of them.
Well, perfect. I need some superpowers.
Well, you got the ability to fly. You got mind control. You're pretty powerful.
Wonderful. I love it.
See, so you're already closely related to the Ark. You might as well just,
I think
we'll just find it, right?
Yeah, I hope you find it, because that'd be the most that'd be the biggest story of all time for real. So
it would.
It would be.
It would for sure.
All right. So hey, while you're out there at the money pit, you interact a lot with Rick, Marty, Craig. Do you have a favorite moment with each of them?
I do. So Craig's wonderful. I mean, they're all wonderful.
Mm-hmm. Of course.
I love them all. But Craig is so almost analytical, and I can see that he's always computing the numbers, and I love that part of him. I love standing right there with him, and it's we're figuring it out together. Mm-hmm. And then, I go stand by Rick, and I get this history lesson, and I learned so much more from him. And then I go over to Marty, and he's this businessman that he, mixes it all together. So I love that they all have their own individual components to this. But what I have to say is my most favorite memories with all of them is that I was able to bring my mom and my daughter, and you guys saw in one season, they were so nice and let me name a shaft after them. Mm-hmm. And I brought my mom and my daughter up there, and we went to dinner and we hung out, and they just treated them amazing, just amazing. I mean, just open arms on the island, come here. And, for me, that was just huge. It was just huge. I mean, they've always respected me as a woman, and, and then just to see them kind of, accept my family too was just, it's huge. And they're just really amazing people. They really are.
That's so cool. That's a great story. I mean, we've never met them. We've never talked to them, but we can tell that that's kind of who they are. It comes out way off the screen. They're just very gracious, very knowledgeable.
Yeah.
I bet they're super cool to be around.
They are. I get nervous all the time when I see TV shows or reality shows or, real life shows, or I don't even know what they're really classified as. But, and you wonder all the time, are they just putting that on for the cameras? Yeah. And They're not. Everyone up there, I cannot say a bad thing about one person on that set. Everyone, it's just really amazing human beings, and that's so rare to find. So, I mean, if there's not a treasure on Oak Island, it definitely is just the treasure of the people, because it brings such an amazing group of people together, which I've never had. I've been on tons of drill jobs in my life, and you always have someone who's difficult to work with, or someone who's irrational, or someone who's there for the wrong reasons. And I honestly cannot tell you one person on that site that is that way.
That's really wonderful to hear. So when the cameras are off, they're not all business all the time. They can be a bunch of softies then. Hmm?
Yes.
That's great.
So when you wrapped up drilling in the money pit at the end of this season, was it just like really sad to leave?
It's always sad to leave. It's always sad.
Yeah, it's such a unique job, right? So, I mean,
it is.
Yeah, I would probably be super sad to have this amazing experience, once in a lifetime opportunity. Well, I guess you get it more than once. You get it, every year or so. But not everybody gets to do what you're doing, and to wrap it up and kind of go home for the year. I would be pretty sad, I think. So.
Like I said, it's like summer camp. You're up in this beautiful place in the woods with all your friends, working on this big adventure, and then summer is over and you got to go home, and it's a little bit bitter and sad and hard.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's an adjustment when you get home. Like,
It is.
If you could work in, say, another area on Oak Island besides just the money pit, where would you want to dig, or where would you want to go?
Oh, maybe David Blankenship's front yard.
Yeah.
Well, what has he got buried there?
Right?
I don't know.
It's time to find out.
Yeah, he's been on that island a long time.
He's got 730 bottles of discarded bottles of Crown Royal.
Right.
Crown Royal, yeah.
Hey, one man's treasure, right?
That's right.
That's his treasure, yeah. That's so funny. I don't know, if you would you want to ever go out and drill in the swamp, or is it just too stinky?
I think after being a horse mom and a mom to humans, you're kind of immune to anything that smells. So
Yeah,
I would be, I would be totally fine working in the swamp. I think it would be fun. I'm open to drilling anywhere they would like to put a shaft down on Oak Island. I'd be more than willing.
You think that's feasible to do something like that in the swamp? We know that they put the floating barge out there. There's some kind of real mystery there. So I mean, might be worth putting a caisson down there.
There for sure is. Not on Oak Island, obviously, but we have done barge work in Canada and in the U.S. so that we've put oscillators right on barges and drilled some shafts for bridge piers and stuff like that. So that's not completely out of our scope of work, and it's something we could definitely facilitate.
Well, Rick and Marty, I think we got a new project. Because, watching the last episode, they're considering a real big dig, kind of like a 100-foot wide dig, and that might not use your guys' resources. So moving over to the swamp might not be a bad idea.
Might not be.
Yeah.
I'll just let you know that it is in Rock's resources.
Oh, snap. We were going to ask that, too.
So you guys were just in San Francisco, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
We did a large project in San Francisco, which was a 150 by 150 square that we had to put secant walls in, which, went down 100 feet to be able to shore up the existing buildings to place a new skyrise or a new skyscraper on.
Yeah.
So our equipment does do interlocking. That's when we need the rotator, as I mentioned before, but does do interlocking caissons that then you would make a complete wall, a shoring wall or something like that. So
okay. Yeah. So we haven't seen the last view on Oak Island yet. Check that off the list.
Who knows?
Yeah, who knows? But we were concerned. So that alleviates some of our concern, I think. We like seeing you guys out there, and we always have to have our classic Danny the Pirate moment every year. So we're looking forward to that for the next season as well. Fingers crossed.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah,
right?
fingers crossed. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, no, they have to come back. I need to cheer when you show up. Like, don't take it away. Okay, can you tell us a funny story about the Fellowship? We love a good funny story.
Yeah, maybe about other than Rick, Marty, and Craig, because I guess we've already touched on them, right?
Yeah.
I'm putting you on the spot.
You are putting me on the spot. Okay. David. David's my favorite. I love David's relationship so much because he's been right there in the money pit with us every year, and he's in the loader, and taking out the spoils and stuff. But I think the first time I met him, he came up and he handed me a little mini bottle of Crown, and it was like 10 a.m. in the morning, and I'm on a drill project, and I'm looking at him, and I'm like, David, what am I supposed to do with this? He's like, you're supposed to drink it.
That's funny.
I was like, okay, I'll save this for tonight. He's like, okay.
Okay, right?
Yes.
That's so funny.
But,
That's so funny. Yeah, we call him the rowdy one. So.
Oh, he's a teddy bear. I love him.
Good. That's fun.
If you had to trade places with like one other Fellowship at the Dig member and do their job or learn their job for a day, maybe a week, who would you want to trade with?
I would trade with Rick.
Okay.
I am so jealous of how dirty he gets to get.
Yeah, he's filthy sometimes.
As soon as because I am someone who likes to work with my hands, and if I'm at home or in the yard, I'm dusty and dirty. But when I get up there on Oak Island, my boys, my team takes such good care of me that like I go to pick up something and they run over and pick it up, and they're like, no, you're not doing it, you're not. And I miss being up there working my booty off, for lack of better words.
Yeah.
So it's very weird for me to stand there and kind of take a back seat and not be hands-on, because I very much like the manual labor and the hands-on approach.
Absolutely. I totally know that feeling. I'm there with you.
She really is your spirit animal.
You are my spirit animal.
Sounds just like Deidre.
Oh, too funny.
So then I guess if I asked you if you were a Rick or a Marty, you'd say you were a Rick.
I think I'm a combination of both, because I definitely got the business component going on, like Marty and that mindset, and I'm in there to do work and that whole component. But then, I don't mind muddy boots like Rick. So I think I'm a balance of both of them.
That's good. It's good to be a balance. Like Deidre is definitely a Marty, and I'm definitely a Rick. So we balance each other. But you got the balance of both like already in you. So good job on that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
What was the most unexpected thing you've seen pulled out of one of your caissons?
Aside from Oak Island?
Oh, well, I was thinking Oak Island, but
now
both.
I really want to know.
Yeah, now we want to know both.
So wow, a lot of San Francisco going on today. But back in San Francisco, on that project I was telling you about that we did the sea cant wall, we pulled out a mammoth tooth.
What?
Wow.
Yeah, that is now in the Smithsonian. That word's not coming out right.
Yeah, Smithsonian. That's cool. Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah, that would be quite the find.
It was really cool.
Jeez. I did not see that coming.
Yeah. I was hoping you weren't going to say I pulled out this weird ceramic box, because that's what we were looking for in California.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So what about on Oak Island? We've seen some kind of, metal being pulled out sometimes. There was like this weird hinge from past seasons. There was, I think that they kind of probably know what the stuff is, but they leave the viewers hanging a little bit sometimes. So like, we're like, what is that? Why don't they talk about that? Like, is there anything interesting coming out of the money pit that you're just like, whoa, I didn't expect that?
No. Oh, I mean, I didn't expect any of the stuff that's coming out of the money pit. So it's all been very, very cool. But I am surprised with how well the equipment has been able to get stuff out. When you do see that big sheet of metal, that we are able to pull it out that intact, or some of the big timbers that we're able to So that's what's remarkable to me, is that we're able to retrieve things in peace. Intact.
Yeah.
So,
cool.
but I would say that there's been everything that we've pulled out that is man-made, or it's just been remarkable to me at those depths.
That's cool. Yeah, like this year we've seen the timbers come out with the marks cut into them, and that's really interesting. We talked to Laird last week, and he said that he didn't think that they were marks cut on purpose, like Roman numerals, like what we saw on the U-shaped structure in Smith's Cove, but he wasn't sure. But, Terry Matheson sure sounded like, oh, man, that's a deliberate, carving onto this piece of wood. So I'm excited to learn more about that stuff, and I hope they show it next season, obviously. Yeah, Laird was telling us about how in the U-shaped structure, the Roman numerals were probably meant to kind of like you put the number 3 with the number 4, and it's kind of like Deidre calls it the Lincoln log theory, where you, you have these, how you would build it, basically you put the numbers with each other. So
those were the IKEA instructions.
That's something else that she calls it.
Yes.
You guys are like the same.
Seriously. So, and then he went on to tell us they were, they used to do prefab homes, quote unquote, early in.
Yeah, back in the 1500s,
Yeah.
1600s, and they would use those markings to do that. It's interesting that you and your team pull that out of the money pit now, and we've seen something like it in Smith's Cove, and it leads credence to each other. So it's just pretty exciting to see stuff like that could correlate with each other.
For sure.
So on TV, it looks pretty quick, but in reality, how long does it take your equipment to reach a depth of say 100 feet?
100 feet, we're typically getting in 2 to 3 days.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, on TV, sometimes it seems really fast. Well, when you first showed up and they would bring the oscillator over and they put in the can, they would leave that as a cliffhanger on one episode, and then it would continue through the next episode, and then we might finally get to some kind of depth on the third episode of this one Caisson. This year it was so quick, they would put it down and they'd say, okay, we're at 100 feet deep, and we don't realize as viewers that that's 3 days have gone by, because it just looks like
a couple hours.
Yeah, it's pretty quick. Hey, let's just get down there and dig stuff out.
The team, as you can see, we've done a couple seasons now, and we've kept the same team. So they are getting quicker and quicker, and they're learning it, and just working together better. And this year we did have a larger oscillator, which had more power. So it goes pretty smooth, and each year it's getting quicker and quicker.
Well, and last season, so we had the smaller caissons last year, but how surprised were you when they started pulling out the teeth from the bottom? When Gary's metal detecting's oh, that's a tooth from the bottom of it.
Well, no one likes their dirty laundry, Laird, but we're going to go there.
Well, it just is, sorry. It's just a little mind-bending that can happen.
And how the teeth were being pulled is what's mind-boggling to me and our machinists and our mechanics and our drillers. We've studied that because it's almost like the teeth got stretched, because there's a hole so that the tooth on the bottom of the can goes in this pocket, and then there's a pin that goes through it to hold them in place. So that if we do break off a tooth, we can punch out the pin and replace the tooth. These pockets were stretched. And that, to me, it's never happened on any of our other drill jobs.
Yeah.
It's almost like something was down there pulling from the opposite direction. And it was a very mind-boggling experience for us as well. Frustrating as well. Expensive as well. I mean, each of those teeth are well over $100. I mean, it's not a cheap component.
Yeah.
But, it would have made sense if they would have sheared off, or if they would have broke off or something like that. But them being stretched that way was very unique and confusing.
Classic Oak Island right there.
Seriously.
Yes.
Steel doesn't really stretch.
Yeah. It doesn't. See,
that's pretty crazy.
Part.
Yeah, wow. All right, well, yeah, crazy.
Wow.
Yeah. All right, so how satisfying is it to you and your team to contribute so much to this information hunt of Oak Island?
It's satisfying. Obviously, we want to give them all the answers.
Yeah.
So there's a satisfying component, and then, a dissatisfying component. But as long as, we're able to provide them with where they want to drill, and we can get the cans down to where they want to go, and it's giving them some sort of answers or no answers, which is an answer, we're more than happy to keep helping them, and to keep on this hunt.
We appreciate what you guys do there. As viewers, we get to learn a whole bunch. Like I said earlier, every time the hammer grab comes up with something new, it adds to the story of Oak Island, and it adds to the information that can tell us where the story may have been or where to go in the future. So it's hard to know what you're you don't know what you're gonna pull up, but anytime something comes up, it could just be a game changer. So it's just, I don't know. It's just very fascinating what you guys do.
Thank you.
Right.
I feel like we're really, really lucky and to have this opportunity, and definitely going to go down in all of our personal history books for our families.
So, just as we're wrapping up here, is there anything that you want to make sure we did get an opportunity to talk about? Maybe something that listeners, watchers may not know, or you would want them to know? We've touched on a lot, but I just want to make sure you have that opportunity too.
Yeah, I would just say, which they might have already gathered from everything I've said on this podcast, but that I do get a lot of, emails or messages or DMs saying, is it real? Is it true? And, there's people that are super supportive and then there's people that are super skeptical. And I'm a real human. I'm a real person, and it's something's going on up there. Something is very much real, and everyone up there has the best intentions, and whether it's frustrating for you as viewers at home, we're all working and trying to figure this out as fast as we can and using every sort of technology and information and everything possible because we all have the same goal. It's been a great experience. Not sure where it's going to go from here, but I just wish everyone the best of luck and that they find success in whatever success may be to them.
Yeah, well, that sounds pretty good because that's what we hope for them. We just hope that they have the most successes that they can have. We hope that they find what they're looking for, and that we're just appreciative that we get to go on the ride with them and with you, because a big part of the team. If you're not, I don't know how long you guys go. Like might be a good question. Just when you show up, how long are you in the Oak Island area? Is it week, months?
It depends on the season and how many holes we're putting down.
Yeah.
It typically takes us about a week to put down a shaft on Oak Island. I wouldn't say that's typical drill time, in the production world, not production as in TV, but in production as in a normal job site. We're putting down shafts a little bit quicker, but up on Oak Island with all the given variables, we're about there a week a shaft, and then it just depends on how many shafts we're going to put down in the area.
Okay, cool. One other question I had about those shafts. We went from a 5-foot wide caisson to the 8-foot this year. Were you excited about the increase of size, or does that matter much to you, or what do you guys feel about
yeah.
it?
Yeah, I was pushing the larger cans from day one.
Okay.
I thought, the bigger the better. We're doing sometimes on projects 12-foot diameter shafts.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
So I'm, knowing that they wanted to do a lot of surface area and to explore stuff, I've definitely been a candidate and a pusher for the larger diameter.
Okay, cool.
I think 100-foot diameter shaft might be approximately a good size.
Yes, I like it.
They tried that once. I don't know. Yeah.
Let's try it again.
Yeah. Well, yes. I think we have more time to try it now. So back in the 70s, I guess, was it? Or the 60s, they had the Dunfield excavation where he did the 100-foot wide, 100 and some foot deep pit. And he only had 6 months to do it. And then when it was done, he pushed everything back in, and he wasn't able to do it really properly. I mean, he gave it his best shot with the limited time he had, but
6 months, that's nothing.
Yeah,
that's fast.
But now we kind of have the ability to spread it over years if need be. So they're able to do it in a more careful and protecting whatever, it's just not so fast. When you do it so fast like that, you get sloppy. So, and you guys are all professionals and you want to make sure it's all done right. So we can appreciate that. And if it takes longer, it takes longer. It's not that big of a deal. We still get entertained by other aspects of the show. Yeah. So.
No, I'd agree with that. Just kind of a side note, I thought I was told that Dunfield was from Arizona as well.
Wow.
So it's weird that, we're from Arizona as well. That's where all of our equipment's stored. So it's kind of unique that even over the years, Arizona and clear across the world and Nova Scotia, or clear across North America and Nova Scotia has this unique ties.
Yes.
Well, it must be meant to be.
Yes.
Final real question here. Do you guys have one favorite overall memory of Oak Island?
I would have to say one of my overall favorite moment was this year when Lee Lamb came. And there's not many females on the island or working on the island, and everything that she's gone through. And she is just this sweet old lady who came right up there, and they, allowed me to teach her how to run the oscillator. And typically I would have expected, people that are not in the industry or not going to be an operator, they normally learn and then they're like, okay, that's enough. And they step back. But she did not. She was still moving it and watching it. And she's like, oh, I'm getting this. And I think she would have stayed there longer had it not been so cold and just keep running it. But it was an awesome experience to, teach someone who's that iconic to Oak Island. And then, someone, I've never taught another woman or, an older lady. So it was it just, reminded me of like my grandma or something like
Yeah.
that. I mean, this was the most respect and love ever. I'm not trying to call her
Yeah.
old or anything, but it was just such a warm and awesome experience. And I would definitely have to say that was one of my top ones. And her brother was so respectful, and you would have thought that, he would have wanted to jump right in and kind of take it over, but he's like, no, this is your moment. You do it. And he just stood behind her and was just so supportive. And it was, that was probably my favorite moment.
No, that's very sweet.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that was it felt like a special moment for the viewers as well. Just watching Lee get to dig on Oak Island, and you're behind her telling her you're digging on Oak Island. That's just a powerful, it's emotional. It's just an emotional moment because of her family's history and the family tragedy. Just coming full circle and able to do something so significant on the island was just kind of a magical moment.
Mm-hmm. It really was. It meant a lot to me, and I didn't even realize it was going to mean so much to me, but it did. It was a wonderful experience.
That's really cool.
That's awesome. Well, you can expect my application in the mail here shortly if you ever want to teach. So maybe open up an apprenticeship program. That's it. But I think, are we?
Yeah, that's about it. We just, want to say, you guys, when you guys are digging, the whole world is rooting you on. So we just want to thank you guys so much for making the Curse of Oak Island an even more enjoyable experience for everybody that watches. And we just, we really appreciate what you guys do out there on the island.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. You guys are wonderful. You have great content, and the trading cards have been hilariously welcomed and wonderful, and really appreciate you guys being porters and such a positive component as well.
All right, well, we appreciate that. Thank you so much. Yeah, we'll have to get a mailing address for your company and send you guys a bunch of the
cards,
the Vanessa cards.
That would be wonderful. I got some nephews that would love them.
Oh, fantastic.
We'll make sure to include the rest of the fellowship too.
Okay, perfect.
Awesome. Thank you for your time, and we will let you go. You've got a business to run, so we don't want to take up any more.
I do. I appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
Thank you so much for your time, Vanessa. We really appreciate it.
Awesome.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate the opportunity.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Well, how cool was that?
Wow, that was really, really special.
Yeah, and we got to learn so much about Vanessa, someone that we see a lot of, but we don't maybe hear a lot from.
No, and, I'm really glad that we got to spend this time talking with her, learning more about her expertise, her background, her thoughts on Oak Island.
Yeah, her business, and, we got to learn that she's, willing to take her whole team to Disney World. I mean,
right?
How cool is that? That's a cool boss.
She's pretty much superhuman.
And she was almost named Deidre.
Oh my goodness. I'm telling you.
Spirit animal.
Right? I am Team Vanessa. I do cheer for her every time she shows up.
You do. The Oak Island team is the gifts that just keep on giving, because we're not stopping here, not with just our interview with Vanessa, which was amazing, but we have more coming, don't we?
Matter of fact, coming Sunday, which is May 10th.
Isn't that Mother's Day?
It is. We have a fantastic gift for our listeners.
All the moms out there?
All the moms.
Maybe the dads too?
The dads. Everybody.
Everybody, okay.
This isn't just like an exclusive club here.
It's just funny that it's on Mother's Day, but,
Yeah, I am so excited. Did you give me this as a Mother's Day gift?
I kind of set it up that way.
Did you?
Except for I think you set it up.
I gave myself a Mother's Day gift.
Yeah, something like that.
All right, well, at 2:00 Pacific time, we are going to be live
on Facebook
with Sir Stephen Guptill,
the royal cartographer himself.
The royal cartographer himself.
Oh, sweet. So we have more Oak Island interviews coming to a podcast near you.
This next one is going to be live.
I am stoked to talk to the
one and only
Mr. Guppy.
Guppy!
Yeah, so I'm excited that he's agreed to speak with us.
Right? I mean, they got to agree to.
Mm-hmm. And they did. So we got that coming. We've got some more interviews coming that we won't, maybe we'll tease at the end of the Steve interview. But
there we go.
Yeah, we've got more stuff coming. Stick with us, right?
Yeah, don't go anywhere.
Yeah, just hang out on our podcast page. We'll have more fun, exciting surprises to come.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll be pleasantly surprised, maybe shocked, maybe like, whoa, why would those people agree to talk to Deidre and Dustin?
Where can they find this live?
All right, so you go to facebook.com/OakIslandPodcast. I used to be like www.facebook. Okay, let's just put it back to just the basic, what you taught me to say. Facebook.com/OakIslandPodcast. Go there at 2:00 p.m. Pacific time, so that would be 5:00 Eastern. And if you're in Nova Scotia like Steve, 6:00 p.m. Log on to, or you just get on Facebook, find our page, and boom, you're in. And you can just chill out and wait, and we're going to be there with Steve Guptill live on Mother's Day. Can't think of a better present for my wife. You know what? I can't think of a better present for your mom. Like, she's all about Oak Island now, right?
Oh, yes, she is.
Look at that. 2 birds, 1 stone.
Yeah, it's going to be a party.
It's going to be fun, so stay tuned. If you liked the Vanessa interview, if you liked the Laird interview, you're going to like the Steve interview, and you're going to like the interviews beyond that, because we're not done.
We're not done. We're not done.
Yeah,
we ask the tough questions.
We've got lots more coming. We're just excited to bring it to you. If you want to get a hold of us, please reach out. You could email us at OakIslandPodcast@gmail.com. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, or both at Oak Island Podcast, right?
Correct.
And then you can even tweet at us, and that's at Oak Island Pod.
We also have a website where you can find all that stuff, OakIslandPodcast.com. Pretty straightforward.
That's pretty straightforward. You can't get more straightforward than that. And last way you can connect with us, Oak Island Podcast phone line, the voicemail line.
The hotline.
Yeah, 360-836-4549. If you have a question for one of the people that we haven't interviewed yet, maybe it might be a good chance to just phone in, say, hey, just send us the questions, and if we get to those people on as far as interviews, maybe we can play them and play your sweet question for that cast member.
Doesn't mean they'll be able to answer.
Yeah, you never know, but it might be fun, right?
Definitely.
It's going to be fun. Thanks for sticking around. Thanks for listening. Thanks for being part of our Oak Island family. Talked about those trading cards. This is the last thing I'm going to throw out there just so that it's out there. If you want to get those sweet Oak Island trading cards, you can sign up on Patreon. That's a way to support us. Patreon.com/Oak Island Podcast, or you go to our website, OakIslandPodcast.com. Boom.
Goes the dynamite.
Yeah. Thanks, Vanessa, again for the awesome interview. Anything else?
No. So until next time.
Could it be...